Well, hello there. It has been a hot minute since I last chatted with you. How are you guys doing? It is great to be back, sitting down, recording, and just hanging out with you guys. I hope you're doing well wherever you are in the world. I'm Kristen, also known as Voolenvine, where I chat about what I'm knitting, what I'm making, or whatever other crafty rabbit hole I happen to be diving down. You're probably wondering, Kristen, where the heck were you? I've been around. I've been working my patootie off, dyeing yarn in the dye dungeon, but I would probably have to say now that things are opening back up again, people are getting together in person and wanting to catch up. I'm not gonna lie, it's just a little overwhelming, and I'm just trying to stay sane, trying to get my work done and, make plans with people without burning out, because I really do want to catch up with family and friends, and a lot's going on. I'm sure you can relate. Anyway, I've missed hanging out with you guys, so here I am, and as promised, I am going to be doing an Ask Me Anything episode. It's been a while since I've done one, and last week, I was hoping to get it out last week, but again, life happened, so I didn't get to record. But I put out a call on my Instagram stories asking you lovely viewers to leave me your queries, and I will do my best to answer all of them. So before we get into that, I think it's only proper that I catch you up on what I've been knitting, what I've been working on, and to be honest, not that much. There's not been much progress. I don't think this monogamous knitting is serving me well, because I have been plugging away at my Faraway Dreams shawl by Locatelli, and it's just a rectangle of garter stitch. I've just been going at it, knitting, back and forth. I want to pull my hair out. I'm losing my mind. Well, pure garter stitch does have a place, and I easily welcome it in any project where it gives me a break to just hang out and knit and then, shoot the breeze with Netflix. This is just a little bit much. And I think, unfortunately, I might be frogging it. Full disclaimer, there's nothing wrong with the pattern. Hohi's patterns are always beautiful, easy, and relaxing. I love Hohi's pattern. I love Hohi. She doesn't even know me, but I love you, Hohi, if you're watching. The one qualm that I have with this project so far is, if you recall, I cast this on while I was on vacation. So I started here. It looks beautifully, my gauge looks very beautiful, very tight and neat, but as I'm progressing, I notice my gauge gets looser and looser and a little bit more sloppy, and it's driving me a little batty. I think I'm probably going to rip this out and repurpose the yarn, which, by the way, the yarn is my hand-dyed yarns, Voolenvine yarns, on my Nouveau base in the Thistle colorway, which is just this beautiful, delicate, light, variegated, or shaded lilac, I want to say. It's got some cool tones and warm tones. Anyway, it makes my heart sing. Again, I should probably just suck it up and finish it, but I think my heart is just kind of over it. And again, nothing wrong with the pattern and nothing wrong with Hohi's patterns. I'm just kind of over knitting the rectangle, and I've already kind of lost my, I don't know, I've lost my desire to finish it. I'm not as excited about the project as I was when I cast it on. When it comes to projects for myself, I need to start off with something complicated and then progress into the easy, where it's just smooth sailing. Whereas I've already completed the hard part, now I just have to knit and check out. So if that makes any sense. But yeah, I know it's a little tale of woe, but yeah, I think between the difference in gauge, I mean, my gauge here compared to where I started is off by about, I want to say, 1.5 inches. And yeah, that's a little too much for me. So I think it's gonna hit the frog pond. It's a beautiful pattern. Maybe I'll revisit it in the future, but right now it's just not what I really want to be working on. So yeah, there's that. However, I did go ahead and cast on a new and shiny project, which was partially inspired by Lisa, who is Bubble Girl Knits on Instagram. Hello, Lisa. I don't know if you're watching, but she knits, her knitting is just so beautiful. Everything she knits, she has her daughter model it. Her photos, her photography is absolutely stunning. I definitely admire everything she does. She knit this beautiful shawl by Inese, who I hope I'm not butchering her name, but she designed this beautiful pattern called Bloom Your Heart Out, and it's this gorgeous asymmetrical lace shawl that uses 3 different colorways. But yes, I loved Lisa's Bloom Your Heart Out shawl so much, I could not resist casting one on for myself. So here is where I am, and yeah, you guys, it's very unlike anything I've ever knit before. And it does look complicated, and I'm not gonna lie, it did take a little time for me to get in a groove of knitting this, but once I got the gist of the pattern, it's really pretty simple and intuitive. And I actually went ahead and put a couple of stitch markers here to keep count and, you know, of my place in, you know, the pattern repeats, which the pattern doesn't suggest that you do, but, you know, once I figured out what was happening, I just placed the markers there for my own sanity, and, you know, it's been working wonders. But it's just such a beautiful, yeah, it's holding my interest, and again, it's just unlike anything I've ever knit before, and I'm loving it. So I just have to do a couple of these repeats all the way up, and then I switch over to, and he's saying has you switch over to like this more intricate, twisted, smocked pattern, which is absolutely beautiful. So yeah, really interesting project. And I'm using my hand-dyed yarns, Voolenvine yarns, on the new Vo base in 3 different colorways. So these are the 2 colorways that I'm currently using, and Rochester is this really nice chocolate milk brown, I want to say. And then here's Whisper. Yeah, it's just this beautiful off-white ecru. Not ecru, it's more just kind of like a very light sandy taupe. And then the 3rd colorway that I'm going to be introducing later is this new colorway called Standing Stone. I mean, named after Outlander. Do you see where I get my inspirations from? I mean, it's no mystery. So this one is just a very light stone shaded gray. And it's a little bit different from, someone was asking me what the difference between Standing Stone, how Standing Stone differs from my Poe colorway. Poe is a very light, very light pale purplish gray. And then I also have Weep. So Weep is right here actually. This is Weep right here, and this is Standing Stone. So Weep is definitely a cooler, darker gray, whereas Standing Stone is lighter and has like a combination of cool and warm tones. So yeah. We've got several shades of gray happening here. So anyway, these are the 3 colorways that I'm going to be using in the project. So anyway, yeah, I'm really excited. Like, I have been gravitating towards neutrals for quite some time now, and I think it was about time for me to just create my own signature neutral palette, if that makes any sense. So yeah, that is pretty much all I've been working on. I know, it's just like to put all that work into knitting a whole garter stitch rectangle and then deciding I don't want to finish it. I have no regrets. The project served me well. It was great vacation knitting, kept my hands occupied, and I could just check out and watch some Netflix and YouTube while I worked on it. And you know, now my mind is refreshed. It's ready to tackle more complicated, more involved patterns. And yes, I know I have some cardigans in the wings that need finishing and some sweaters. I'm getting to them. But yeah, for now, my attention, I'm hooked on this pattern right now. So anyway, yeah. All right, let's get into these questions. There were so many great ones, and thank you so much to anyone who left me a question. I had so much fun reading through them and deciding which ones I was going to answer. There are some that were repeat questions from previous AMAs that I published, so if I didn't answer your question here, chances are it's probably been answered in a previous episode or a previous Ask Me Anything episode, or it's just a little bit too nosy and I'm just not gonna go there. The first question is from Attic166, and she asks, can you tell us where you get some of your favorite necklaces from? I always wonder and love them. Thank you so much. You know, there was an Etsy shop that I used to just binge purchase. Well, I think I bought maybe like 5 or 6 necklaces from her, but she had a really nice aesthetic. It wasn't expensive jewelry at all. It was, you know, just kind of fun, goth-themed jewels that she created. They were really beautiful and spoke to my soul on so many levels. But sadly, she is no more. I'm blanking on what her shop name was, but I'll pop it in the down bar. Yeah, sadly, she's no longer making jewelry, and it makes me so sad because I still have some of those pieces that I wear on a regular basis. And yeah, so unfortunately, her shop is no longer around. The other necklace that you've probably seen me wear a lot is the pendant with the Art Nouveau bat, and that is easily my favorite piece that I own, and that is by Blood Milk Jewels. You can probably, I'll pop a link to her Instagram in the description box below, but that was a treat to myself. I absolutely love that piece. As you know, like, I love Art Nouveau, and just everything that she creates is stunning. So I'm saving up my shekels to purchase my next piece from her because I just love everything she makes. Dennis gifted this to me for our 10th anniversary. It's just a very simple, pink teardropped pearl with a tiny little diamond in there. And I will be honest, I am usually not into pearls. I'm not a pearl girl, but when I saw this, I was just like, that is so beautiful. And he picked it out himself, and I've been wearing it every single day. And this is from Catbird. I want to say they're an independent jewelry maker. There's one here in Williamsburg, Brooklyn on Bedford Avenue. It's a very tiny shop, but they have the most beautiful pieces. But yeah, I absolutely love this. And you know, Dennis did a good job, I think. This next question is from Mansarden.atelier, who is Nora. Hi! Guten Tag. She wants to know how my German learning rabbit hole is going. Nicht sehr gut. Yeah, I have kind of fallen off the bandwagon when it comes to learning German. If you're not familiar, my grandmother is from Germany, and I was raised by her and inadvertently learned a whole bunch of... Sorry, my neighborhood's very loud right now. Ooh. She inadvertently taught me how to swear in German, and I picked up some German from her, and it's been my dream to learn German. And yeah, it's finding that I need to make time to learn it, to get back into it and just immerse myself in the language. Anyway, it's a language that I dearly want to learn, and I just have to get in the right mindset again and start picking it up. But thank you for asking. One day I will get back to it. Kitty is not amused wants to know, does Joji let you pet them? Yes. For the past year, she's warmed up to us a lot. I guess it helps that I feed her every day, but Joji, if you're not familiar, is our outdoor cat. She's a neighborhood feral that has adopted us. One day she just, you know, hopped into our yard, and she just had this look of judgment on her face. I think it was Denise from Yoshi and Lucy that kind of gave her that name. She's like, why so judgy? So that name kind of stuck. So thank you, Denise, if you were watching. She's been judgy ever since. But yeah, she lets us pet her, and she does this really funny thing where I think she associates eating with being pet. So anytime I pet the top of her head, she just shoves her face in her food bowl, which is a little nuts because the food goes everywhere. Anyway. Never a dull day here. Colleen Davis wants to know, what's your criteria for frogging a project? Ooh, well, excellent question. I think at the top of the episode, I just listed one of my criteria, which is when gauge just isn't matching up and I've just lost steam. I don't try to power through. It's just, if I'm not feeling it, I'm not feeling it. When I know in my gut that I'm not going to like a project, or I know that it's not going to fit, I really have to start listening to that intuition and just going with it and ripping it out regardless, you know? Even though whether I'm using a really nice type of yarn or I've already put so much work into it, chances are, you know, if I do finish it, there's going to be something that bothers me. So, you know, yeah, listening to my gut when it tells me to rip out, or, you know, if my gauge is off and I'm just not feeling it anymore. One thing that I should mention about, you know, criteria for ripping out a project is if there's some bad juju associated with the project. If I know a bad memory is going to be tied to a particular project, I will gladly frog it if it means I don't have to remember or think about that experience. Not that happens often, but there are times when, you know, I'm just like, you know what, I'm just not feeling this project anymore. It just reminds me of this thing that happened, and you know, I'll just frog it. I think that happened only once, but there are certain projects that I have completed that I look at and I'm just like, I really just don't want this in my house, and I will donate it. I have no problems donating things that just bring back bad memories. Anyway, that was a little woo-woo, but anyway, that's one criteria for you. The New York Gear wants to know, if you could dye only one of your colors for the rest of your life, which one would it be? Ooh, good question. You know, it's still, someone asked me this before, you know, I mean, all my colorways are my babies. I love all of them, but the one colorway that I keep coming back to is I Am No Bird. It's just, I don't know what it is about that color, but I could just knit everything in that color. I could dye it. It's just my go-to favorite color to dye and to knit with. May as well show you my Birds of a Feather shawl by Andrea Mowry. This was knit entirely in I Am No Bird, and yeah, I used two different yarn bases for this. Obviously my Nouveau base. It's just, it just has so much dimension, and yeah, it just makes my heart sing. So this is it on Nouveau, and then here it is on my Ghost Lace base, which I kind of, if you're wondering whatever happened to my Ghost Lace base, it's been a while since I've dyed on it. That's my Lace Weight Silk and Mohair blend yarn. That's very popular. I am not a huge fan of dyeing it because the mohair just kind of gets everywhere, and obviously it's summer. Anyway, I'm taking a break from dyeing it. I haven't decided if I'm going to completely discontinue it. Yeah, I've just kind of gotten tired of dyeing it and working with it, and anyway, I'm not into the mohair these days, so unfortunately I just haven't felt like dyeing it, in case you wondered. But anyway, thanks for asking that question, New York Year. Shared Yarns asks, what did you used to do before you started to dye yarn full time? I, believe it or not, was a video editor slash producer for an online magazine for two different companies. Basically, my job was to edit video for online content, which clearly I'm still doing and enjoy, but you know, I do it for fun now. Mainly, I would coordinate with PR, I would schedule shoots, I would interview talent. It was actually really, really fun. I got to interview celebrities, interview bands, musicians. It was pretty wild, but I had to wear many hats for that job, and I'm not gonna lie, it took a toll. I'm a self-professed introvert, and every day just having to engage on that level and, you know, wake up early, go on shoots, edit, and, you know, publish, and it was a lot. I'm so lucky that I had knitting and I discovered yarn dyeing. You know, I give full credit to Laura, who is Jinx Yarns. She no longer dyes, but she's a dear friend. And she inspired me to give yarn dyeing a try. And I'm so grateful for her for doing that, for you know, inspiring me and being my friend, and you know, just, yeah, it opened up a whole new world to me. But that used to be my job. It was a hustle, and yeah, it's just, I'm not cut out for that type of work. I remember coming home and just being so tired, so drained, and you know, towards the end I started really like crying every night because it was just so. Once I found yarn dyeing, I realized this is what I want to do. I want to make a go of it. So that took a lot more work too, because I was working, you know, once I was done with work, I, you know, came home, started dyeing yarn, worked on the weekends, and after a year I saved up enough and had enough income to match my my then income, and was able to just, you know, give my 2 weeks notice and be done with it. Yeah, it was an experience. I learned so much from it, and yeah, I'm so glad that I can, you know, take what I learned from that experience and carry it over into this new experience. But yeah, so here we are. Mogateer wants to know, how do you like potatoes most? Fried, baked, or cooked? I will be honest, I don't really like potatoes. I'm not much of a potato person, but Dennis has been getting these small baby potatoes, chopping them up and baking them in the oven with dinner. You know, we'll usually get some salmon or whatever. So I do like a good baked, chopped, small, tiny potato. I don't know what you call those, but they're delicious. But yeah, only on occasion. I'm not hugely into potatoes. I do appreciate the occasional French fry, and that's singular. Linda Unofficial asks, I've always been wondering what's your favorite music or bands? Lots of love from Germany. Hello, guten Tag again. So, I love my German viewers. When it comes to music, I'm a little all over the place, though I do love I love any music that's catchy, poppy, anything that I can sing along or dance to. I love me some Lady Gaga, I love me some Madonna, I love me some, let me see. These are some tracks from my roller skating playlist, so I'll pop a link to it down below if you want to copy it, but we have The Weeknd, Blinding Light, his song Blinding Lights. There's Pink, Walk Me Home. We've got Makiba. This artist called K-Flay. I have never heard of her, but Amazon recommended her to me, and I just really like her music. I can't really describe it. It's kind of like grungy pop, angsty. It harkens back to my days of listening to Garbage and just alternative grunge music. I love it. I love her. Definitely check her out. We've got some Sia, we've got some Adele, we've got some Robin, Dancing on My Own. Oh my god. Remember that song when it was on Gossip Girl? Yeah, just so good. We've got some M83, Midnight City on here. I have some songs from The Greatest Showman for some reason. Don't ask, I don't know. Taylor Swift, You Need to Calm Down. Love me some Tay Tay. Scissor Sisters, oh my gosh, this was a recent rediscovery. I used to love Scissor Sisters. After college, I used to do the whole party circuit with my friends, so Scissor Sisters was huge in that scene. So anyway, memories. Yeah, we got Lady Gaga, I've got Madonna, her from Confessions on the Dance Floor, easily one of my favorite albums of all time. Back in high school, I was obsessed with, again, alternative rock. I listened to Nirvana, Smashing Pumpkins, Be Still My Heart. There was a lot. But anyway, these days, you know, These days it's a lot of pop dance music, and then sometimes when I'm walking, especially when I'm going on photo walks, I have a tendency to listen to music scores. Like, I know that sounds totally random, but it makes things just a whole lot more dramatic. Especially like Danny Elfman, Hans Zimmer. Oh yeah, it's just so good. Jack NKN wants to know, is there anything you regret knitting? No, not at all. I mean, I used to, but if I don't end up finishing a project, I know that there's always something I can learn or glean from it. You know, if something goes wrong with a project or it just doesn't work out, I learn something from it. I learn something about my knitting style, myself, what I like, what I don't like. So there's always a lesson in that, and I regret nothing. So there you go. Efasefos asks, what did you study in uni or college? I studied film and video. Yes, I had grand aspirations to become a film director, realized that that required a lot of collaboration, a lot of working with people, a lot of long hours, and quickly realized that was not for me. And then I fell into cinematography, where I learned about lighting and color grading and all that fun stuff. And then again, quickly realized that also required a lot of collaboration and working with lots of people and long hours. And then I found video editing, where it's the introvert's dream, where you just work in a bat cave for most of your life in a dark room, editing away, just you know, cutting and splicing things together and making a story come together out of all these bits and pieces. It's like magic. So yeah, that is where I fell in love with video editing, and I'm, again, just so happy and lucky that I get to continue doing that here. So yeah, that's what I studied. Nitty Professor asks, where does the name Voolenvine come from? Does it have to do with vampires? I get asked this question all the time, and I feel like I've addressed it many a times. But, you know, for those just joining me, welcome, welcome. Yes, Voolenvine is a strange name. I came up with it at the dawn of Ravelry. I joined Ravelry and had to come up with a username, and I really stink at coming up with usernames, so it was kind of a play on, because I'm German, it was a play on words. You know, it was kind of a spur of the moment thing. I was like, all right, what do I like? What do I like? I like wool, I like wine, and you know, because the W in German is pronounced like a V, I just put a German twist on it and just called myself Voolenvine. I was like, we're gonna go with that. That has a ring to it. So I just ran with it, and here we are. Katina's Art wants to know, hello Katina, how are you? She wants to know, will you be doing any yarn club kits again? Have you considered kits of your seasonal colors? Well, number one, I have been doing seasonal and Strange Brew kits lately, and I really have, I've been having so much fun putting those together. They're tiny but mighty kits in my opinion. Just coming up with 3 color palettes, you know, to knit whatever you'd like with. But when it comes to yarn clubs, I will be completely transparent and honest, I don't enjoy them. There are a lot of things that yarn dyers do, such as, you know, advent calendars, yarn clubs, and it probably has to do with the fact that I'm a one-woman show and I'm doing all this work by myself, and it's just a lot of work that, I don't know, it's just more work than I am capable of putting into an advent calendar. And I salute any dyer out there that does that work. It's just, it's a lot of work, and I'm just not here for it. So as opposed to just forcing myself to do something that I don't want to do for my business, I don't want that coming through in the product. You know, so I just want to create things that I truly enjoy creating and putting out into the world. And, you know, again, this might sound woo-woo, but I want my customers to feel that there's love and joy in everything that I put into my shop. Yeah, I don't want them to feel like, oh, Kristen really went through a slog to put this advent calendar together. It's great, awesome. But anyway, I hope that answers your question. Magic Wands of 2 wants to know, what would you be doing if you weren't a yarn dyer? Okay, yeah, probably in some capacity still being a video editor. I would probably cut the producer part out of that job description, because yeah, that I think took the most toll out of, you know, that was the energy suck, where I just had to, you know, be in constant contact with PR people, scheduling. You know, I do miss interviewing celebrities. That was really cool. But yeah, I don't know, if I could be anything else, probably a photographer, because yeah, I'm still very, very passionate about photography. I am very interested in psychology, you know, learning about what makes people tick, but that I feel like I'd be in above my head if it came down to that. So I'll keep that a hobby. I really truly enjoy working on my own independently, freelancing, creating my own schedule, and you know, again, after leaving my full-time job as a video editor and producer, I could never go back to working for someone. That's just not who I am. I've tasted the Kool-Aid of being a solo entrepreneur, and I like it here. I think I'm here to stay. So anyway, I hope that answers your question. Carmen RB wants to know, what would be my next favorite color if mauve didn't exist? I would say olive, like a chartreusey green almost. If you're not familiar with my Venus flytrap colorway, that would probably be my favorite color if mauve did not exist, but I could not imagine a world without mauve. That would be terrible, terrible. How dare you suggest that? Renee Edwards 3109 asks, what is the most unusual rabbit hole you've gone down? Oh, there's so many. I would have to say the whole Edwardian Victorian rabbit hole of sewing historical garments. That was, I mean, I have to be honest, I am kind of over that phase, although it was just so fun and interesting to kind of dive down and learn about the intricacies, is that the word? Yeah, of the work and techniques that went into making those garments. I still have a deep appreciation for it, and I love reading up on it, but the actual act of sewing those things, it's not really practical for myself, but I would consider that the most original and interesting rabbit hole I've ever dove down. Hi! Am I not talking to you? Am I not talking to you, baby? I'm sorry, I'll be with you in a moment, okay? I'll be with you soon. I know, it's that time. Bella is telling me it is that time. We have to feed her. She's on a schedule, and Hexnit wants to know, how big is your stash? You're looking at it, my friends. There are a couple of skeins bins down here that I have that are filled with yarn, but for the most part, this is it right here. These 3 cubbies and this little one over here. I went through a whole mega de-stash. I had so much yarn I didn't know what to do with. It was very overwhelming. And I think I still need to de-stash some of this hand-dyed yarn up here. Colors that I purchased a long time ago that just don't speak to me anymore. Yeah, I've just gone on a complete minimalism kick in the past couple months. I just prefer to keep things simple and purchase things as I need them. Although I do love new things, but at the same time, it's like when I accumulate too much, it just gets very overwhelming for me. So I like the fact that I've been able to pare down my stash to 3 main cubby holes. All right, one more question and then I think we're gonna wrap it up. Alexis Celia also wants to know what my guilty pleasure is. I would say romance novels are my ultimate guilty pleasure. That and makeup. I really love makeup, guys. I don't talk about it very much on the channel because I don't know if you guys are into that, but if you are into makeup, let me know in the comments below. I can make that happen. Anyway, I am gonna end things there. Thank you so much again for all of your wonderful questions. I had a lot of fun answering them, and I'm sorry if I didn't get around to yours. There were just so many, and I feel like I answered some of these already on previous AMA episodes. Do check some of those out. Maybe your question will be answered there, but I am planning to do another one of these episodes in the near future, maybe for the next milestone, and the like. So anyway, that said, thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you're new here and haven't already, please feel free to like and subscribe down below. I put out a video for your viewing pleasure on a weekly-ish basis. And until the next video, happy knitting, and I'll see you next time. Bye!